Travis Wingate, so. The scriptures talk about how a corrupted seed produces corrupt fruit. And there's no way to obtain good fruit from a corrupt seed. In Jacob, there's the parable of the olives, in which a good olive seed was originally planted, but there were some corrupted branches. And so in that particular case, he would cut off the branches that had been poisoned and transplant them onto other good branches, other good vines, to produce the good olives. But there has to be a drastic surgical removal from corruption in order to produce something good. And this, obviously, as you already have guessed, has to do with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The prophets are corrupt seed. Their words are all corrupt. They deceive with the appearance of good seed. They say the words Jesus, love, family, covenant path. But their meaning and use in application are where Mormons should be able to realize, hey, this is fruits of death and corruption. Case in point, Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow, Brian David Mitchell, Mark Hoffman, Brigham Young, John D. Lee, and many others. And it's the psychologists and their field of study, so it's therapists and any counselors from that field who are sent in to deceive. In this particular case, it would be Mormons. And it's a different tactic, but it's the one the church just drools over. You go, yes. Because what happens to Mormons when a Chad Daybell emerges or a Brian David Mitchell emerges? It's the same thing that the other branches from Brigham Young are treated by Mormons. Well, they're the apostates. That's what happens when you fall away from the true church, when you don't study your scriptures, when you don't follow the living prophets. Psychos play that same game. Should we go over Elizabeth Smart? She is still Mormon. Went on a mission, got sealed in the temple, now has an eternal family. She has no clue that the prophets made Brian David Mitchell. The prophets made Chad Daybell. The prophets made Lori Vallow. The prophets made John D. Lee. You seeing a pattern? Do I need to show it to you? Let's see. March of the 70, Jeremy Runnels, he was used by the church and John Dehlin for that same purpose. Because Mormons now see Jeremy Runnels as a cautionary tale. Oh, I don't want to become like Jeremy Runnels. I don't want to question the church. See, Elder Uchtdorf made Jeremy Runnels popular. It's okay to ask questions, it's just not okay to question the church. There it is. And so John Dehlin came in and pulled the same stunt that the church does for these guys who are actually evil, and helped vilify Jeremy Runnels to Mormons even more, as he's now a hero to ex-Mormons. This is the psychological manipulation game that is very deadly and dangerous, and I'm struggling to get it through to you guys on both sides. The church came out in 2015 with a statement on the tetrad that had just occurred and finished, and 3 prophets had died. And how do I get your attention? We're in a tetrad right now, but I'm pretty damn sure it's because of this. That Mormons and ex-Mormons are like, oh, Travis is going to turn into Chad Daybell. And so Mormons are saying, oh yeah, he's apostate, he's evil, he's gone off the reservation. And ex-Mormons are going, oh yeah, he's turning into Chad. He's turning into Chad. There it is, there it goes. You guys are both being played. And so here's their statement. The church encourages our members to be spiritually and physically prepared for life's ups and downs. See how they're downplaying it? It's not the latter days, it's just life's ups and downs. For many decades, church leaders have counseled members. See, here's the trap. We've always been the voice of warning and counsel. You need to listen to us. Where possible, they should gradually build a supply of food, water, and financial resources. You notice that it was only a year's supply? How long has the coronavirus been going on now? And now we have Omicron. Oops, your supply wouldn't have worked for this, would it? To ensure they are self-reliant. Is a wealthy person supposed to not give their substance to the poor because the poor need to be self-reliant and therefore they're wicked and undeserving of help? You see how the church prophets under Monson set the psychological trap during disasters and normal hardships. This is why the church will not help Utah Mormons during a Utah natural disaster. They'll help the rest of the world, but it's for extortion purposes. Hey, we're the Mormon church. Here's a single truckload for a whole city. See how good we are? Don't you want to become Mormon and pay us money? You owe us. We gave you a single truckload. You need to do us a favor, though. Normal hardships that are part of life. See? What happened when coronavirus began coming out? The news started saying, oh no, we can't make this the new normal. Oh no. They kept repeating it over and over and over, like Sinclair did. We will never report. It was the same thing all across the nation. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, oh, this is the new normal. You see how they tricked you? All because nobody followed the medical professionals from the beginning. This teaching to be self-reliant has been accompanied by the Council of Church Leaders to avoid being caught up in extreme efforts to anticipate catastrophic events. You know, the latter days. See, well, right there, that was the pre-show. And he's denying it. He's supposed to be a prophet. Amos 3:7. They're supposed to warn. They're supposed to go, yep, this is it. This is the pre-show, guys. We're entering into the latter days. That'll begin, according to John's star date, 23rd of September, 2017. The church is now implementing Operation Latter Days to make sure all Mormons are prepared and ready. Oops. And because of this, oh, wait, we're not finished. One more paragraph. The writings and speculations. What do you think that does to Chad Daybell when he reads this? When he finds out from the living prophet, of whom he is a member of still, of individual church members, some of which have gained currency recently. Yeah, the church doesn't get currency for what they preach. Should be considered as personal accounts or positions that do not reflect church doctrine. He just called them fake, false. That's his own personal account or position. They made Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow into monsters with this first presidency statement. Because then he went on to get worse. But Mormons blame Chad and Lori. They do not blame the church. And Mormons say, oh, I need to follow the living prophet. They've been telling me the truth this whole time. Why does it do that? It doesn't move. It just blurs. Cheap ass camera. Still not satisfied. What's going on? And so the same with Brian David Mitchell. The church made Brian David Mitchell. He had to rename himself because he realized the church, was bad because they excommunicated him. And so he then became Doctrine and Covenants, section 85, the one mighty and strong, the last days Messiah. A mortal man? Huh. See, and that, as a result, gets Mormons saying, oh, yeah, because it's Jesus. Brian David Mitchell is really off the reservation because he thinks that the Messiah is going to be a mortal man like those Jews, as we are now in the first day of Hanukkah, which is all about the last days Messiah for the Jews, to restore the temple. Because that's what Hanukkah is all about. It's a celebration of the restoration of Hanukkah. And today is also the second day of Advent, which is not just a celebration for Jesus' birth, according to Constantine. Those creeds that Jesus tells Joseph Smith are an abomination in the first vision, but also for his second coming. And so the Book of Mormon was written to the Gentiles, Christians, and the Jews, to tell them the true Christ is coming. And so for the Jews, it's not about, oh, it's Jesus, guys. You guys have been wrong the whole time. The Gentiles have been right. No. It's to let the Jews know, hey, he's coming, and he's going to be through the Mormon church. And for the Gentile Christians, yeah, you guys are way out there. So, again, it's this dichotomy, opposition that is in our society that's causing all these problems. And so, how do psychos do this? Let's use the example of a school shooting. A peer comes to school with father's gun, blows everybody away. What happens? The psychos come in first. Do they even know if it's from bullying? We had an experience here in Utah of that situation. A child, 10-year-old girl, committed suicide because of bullying. The government claimed, oh, well, we're going to look into having an investigation. And the news covers bullying. Oh, bullying, is there a problem? No, because we're Mormon. We're not going to do an investigation. We're just going to talk the talk in the beginning and hope that it dies down, and then everybody forgets that we didn't even bother to even find the cause and solve it. And so we're going to use this instead of a school shooting. So the psychologists come in, use the news, use the government to let the bullies get away with bullying other peers. 10-year-old kids. They instead tell the kids, oh, you guys aren't to blame. This was a horrifying thing. If you ever think about committing suicide, you need to call us. Your parents will have insurance or they'll have to pay. But we want to help you. We're the only ones who can help you through this horrible emotional trauma you're going through. And so these peers, they catch on, they ain't dumb. They go, oh, I'm going to get away with it? I'm not going to be punished. Awesome. Oh, it is so tragic that she's gone. Yeah, I really need your help. Oingo Boingo has a song that I will not encourage, but it comes to mind. Is that Oingo Boingo? It's not Only a Lad. Hold on. I'm not going to tell you. I just need clarification that it's the right composers. Nope, it's not. Different group. The Ramones. And so, yeah, these Mormon boys, and possibly girls, who bullied this 10-year-old black girl, are getting away with what they did. And they'll grow up, the boys will get priesthood, they'll go on missions, they'll go on to get sealed in the temple, they'll go on to become priesthood leaders, where they will then get up at the pulpits and espouse their false doctrine that they were taught when they were 10-year-olds, bullying one of their peers to death. And the cycle continues. They then hand out the seeds to other Mormon youth. And the cycle of death and corruption continues generation after generation after generation, all because of the lies and damage done by psychos and Mormon leaders, government leaders, and parents and teachers. All Mormon in this particular case. Whereas outside of Mormonism, like school shootings out in regular America, they grow up to be presidents or other government leaders, or leaders in schools, or leaders in business, and leaders in other positions of trust in the communities. And the cycle continues. This is why I warn you about John Dehlin. And yet ex-Mormons vilify me and put John Dehlin high up on their pedestal, just as Mormons do for the prophets. When an example like Chad Daybell comes along, the prophets should have been listened to, he should have stuck with the church, should have read his scriptures, should have gone to church in the temple. See, he committed adultery with Lori, he committed murder, all because he didn't listen. No, I just read to you. The prophets made him. Monson made Chad Daybell. He was just waiting for that trigger. All Monson had to do was tell the truth. I'm a false prophet. I have no clue when the latter days are. Or, yeah, I'm working with the Great and Abominable Church, or the the Gadian Band in America. They have the little black book. It'll be revealed in 10 years from now, or close to that, 5 years, 6 years. It was this year when it was released, leaked. And it's our purpose to destroy the world and America and take over the reins of government. We are anti-government. That's all he had to do. It's simple, right? Just confess your sin. Make restitution. No. Yeah, Mormons believe that he will tell us when the latter days will be, and that they'll protect Mormons. That's why we pay tithing. It's fire insurance. That's what we call it. It's called a protection racket. It's what crime organizations do. And so, do you understand how Mormons cannot be good? They have to sever themselves from the seed of the church. They have to find another seed separated from the church. I can go on with more examples. Ex-Molex, victimized by her in-laws. Her in-laws, Mormon. But because she's not Mormon, because John Dehlin made her popular, they've escalated their attacks. And if you've seen her video the other day, they returned all the gifts that they've given them, and they've sent them hate mail. They had all the family members write down how much they hate them. Sent it in the manila envelope, of which she peeked inside and saw what it was about, and then refused to open it and read them. The church made her in-laws. And instead of Exmo Lex blaming the church, she comes out and says, I'm not being critical of the church. There are good Mormons. It's not a reply to my in-laws even. It is. Sorry, Exmo. Or is it just Lex? Is it Exmo or is it Lex? Or does it have to be Exmo Lex? And again, why is your husband not stepping up and going after his family? He's supposed to defend you. What's up with him? And so again, Exmo Lex is being distracted from the church, from the real cause. The church made her in-laws, so that when she tried to sever ties with the church, the in-laws were already indoctrinated to attack her. See, the church prophets aren't doing it. They're keeping their hands away. They're staying the distance. Their hands are clean and pure. I wash my hands of Exmo Lex. They're not. They're guilty because they incited her in-laws. The church incites violence, incites hate. And so yes, the YouTube employees who attack me, who cyber terrorize my computer, not just my channels, they were incited by the prophets. The seed of corruption keeps spreading generation after generation. And when Mormons get caught and busted, like the sexual predator who was a bishop and a police officer down in southern Utah, he says he was just trying to help those underage girls. Or the BYU groper. I needed help, and I have a problem. Or out in the world, remember the massage parlors? The news tried to turn it into a racial thing rather than a religious thing, that the Catholic Church had incited that man to feel guilty about masturbation. $300 million per second. Dear God. And we're supposed to just turn it off. Stop production. And so yeah, the guy is confused. Because when it's time to go, you're not thinking religiously. And so he has to go out of town to the massage parlor where he gets a happy ending. And then afterwards he feels guilty. And then after so many times he says, they're the ones to blame. It had nothing to do with race. It had to do with the Catholic Church inciting him to violence to turn it off. Or the priests in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which extended beyond Pennsylvania. There were lots of priests outside of Pennsylvania who were involved in the sex trafficking of the choir boys, the altar boys. Again, it was the Catholic Church. So just like the Mormon Church incites, so does the Catholic Church. So does evangelicals. They are incited by their leaders. They're televangelists. And so when the news comes out that, oh, one of our evangelical leaders loves to watch his wife do the pool boy, they're sort of in a conflict. Because once it builds up enough, those 300 million every second, you start thinking, that sounds like a good idea. I'll try it too. No! I can't do that. That is not my thing. The purpose of marrying a woman is so that you get to do her. Not somebody else. What the hell is wrong with people? But yeah, the hills of Draper. All Mormons know about that, as bishops had to step in to stop it. But Mormon couples, oh, we're having a swinging good time. And thus created the doctrine of orgies in the spirit world, or the afterlife, celestial kingdom. And Daniel Trotter was a part of that thinking. That disturbed me. Daniel Trotter wrote a book. I'll even promote it for him, even though he doesn't want me to. And it's another case in point. This is why I'm bringing it up. A different kind of strong. Oh, he's got a different cover. That's interesting. It's the second edition. Huh. Yeah, he's got an added title. And so the original first edition is still available at the same price. Also available on Kindle. But apparently only the second edition has the Kindle Unlimited free with Kindle Unlimited membership. Join now. Or pay the same $4 price. I hope that's not the minimum price now for Kindles. But it wouldn't surprise me that Amazon jacked up their prices for their cut. Now the second edition has the subtitle, Addiction and Adversity Leads to a 30-Day Fast and a Christ-Centered Life. Now, spoiler alert, his book talks about him being in a gang in Southern California. And so, being in a gang, he's involved with murder, adultery, or just wanting sex, rape, and theft, crime. And he bottoms out, thus the 30-day fast. And when he came out of it, he now became an idol worshiper for Jesus in the Mormon Church. Because he doesn't blame the gangs. That seed that taught him incorrectly that it was okay to commit crime. It was okay to rape, okay to murder, okay to steal. Instead, he blamed porn. He had wanton sex because of porn. Porn made him do it. You need to go back to your 30-day fast. Extend it for another 30 days. $300 million per second, dear God. But that's the trap, he said. And so he is now reinforced in the church. and thinks still that porn is the enemy. If he can avoid porn, he will stay away from going back to what he did in the gang. And he has no clue that he's in another gang, and they're pulling the same stunt, keeping the same seed flowing through his veins. Just like Elizabeth Smart, she has no clue that the church was to blame for Brian David Mitchell, because Daniel is fooled by the church that, oh, he should have listened to the prophets, he should have stayed with the church, and instead he went with the gang. He didn't learn. And as a result, when I come along, he befriends me, he pulls me under his wing, tries to indoctrinate me, doesn't know my history. And so once I start learning about church history, there's others, like our bishop at the time, and the ex's family, the in-laws, they all attack, and so it's all a concerted effort at the same time on me. And so where I'm different than X Model X, I know the cause of the problem. I know the ones to blame. But Daniel Trotter shunned me like everybody else in Mormonism. He did not learn from his gang ties. The church indoctrinated him to be a booby trap for when I leave the church. And the church can wash their hands and say, oh, we're not responsible, Travis. That's on you. You didn't stay loyal to us. And so Mormon after Mormon on my channels, putting the thumbs down, yeah, the prophets made you do it. And yes, the devil does make people do things. But that doesn't excuse you from responsibility. Because the devil also is supposed to get in trouble, not just you. And if ex-Mormons can realize this, there'd be a lot more relief. But you've got John DeLynn, who keeps that barrier going. And so when Chad Daybell happens, ex-Mormons go, oh yeah, he was a rogue Mormon, and you know, Mormons aren't like that. There are some good Mormons out there still. No, the Mormons who are befriending you still are the ones trying to lure you back to church. They've even confessed when I used to comment on ex-Mormons' videos. The Mormons would attack me in the comments because the creator does not see the comment thread unless the creator is involved in that thread. And so trolls know this, and so they will attack people on the comments rather than the creators. And so YouTube sort of facilitates this cyber trolling and attack on their own site because of the way it's set up. And that's why I hold all comments for review, so that nobody can attack others who make a comment that I approve of. And so we'll finish with Korihor to show you how the church is abusing the Book of Mormon. Alma chapter 30, verse 12, this Antichrist, whose name was Korihor, He says, you were brought down under a foolish and vain hope. Why do you look for a Christ? Now, is it a Jesus who's supernatural yet physical at the same time? No. It's a mortal of flesh, bone, and blood. Mother, the blood. Psychos, catching on? Or is it just my own personal inside joke? These things which ye call prophecies. We're in a tetrad right now. The prophets want to dismiss them as foolish traditions of Travis. Because Monson dismissed the tetrad as being foolish traditions of Chad Daybell. And I was just innocently not posting about it. I didn't have a YouTube account yet. And so I was going, oh, lunar eclipse. I wonder if there'll be a death of a prophet like there was for Faust and Hinckley. And then nothing. Then the second one comes along. Oh, two. Oh, maybe there'll be two prophets dying. Comes and goes. Nothing. And then the third one. And then they finally say, oh, this is part of a tetrad. Why didn't you say that from the beginning? And then boom, boom, boom. Oh, pattern. Sign in the heavens pattern. But I didn't connect it to the latter days yet. It was not until November 4th, 2016. A date which shall live in infamy. Fox 13 News, Utah. Hey, we got a solar eclipse coming. 21st of August, 2017. Make sure to vote for Trump. Oh my God. So yeah, I knew exactly what that meant. And that's why I put a hold on all my ancient language translation publications and pursued the signs in the heavens for the latter days. Because I knew we were in it. And so yeah, we're in a tetrad. You listening, Nelson? Of course you are. Whether it's you directly or one of your minions who will return and report. And so, the foolish traditions, this is where they trick Mormons, is that it's not about foolish. See, Mormons are led to believe, oh yeah, no, the traditions are good. They're true. No, it's traditions. That's the problem. It's not traditions. They got it from the brass plates. Remember? The beginning of the story? Nephi tries to get the plates from Laban. And he goes through the whole thing. How will they know about the Christ unless we get these plates? Well, here you are, Korihor, Antichrist, calling the brass plates foolish traditions. And he's projecting. Because what is he wanting to do? He wants to have foolish traditions started. He wants to be supported financially, as he accuses the prophets of being supported financially. He wants polygamy. He fools lots of women to join. And other crimes. Whatsoever a man does was no crime. That's pretty foolish. And so he's projecting as well. He wants to do these things. So yes, Brigham Young is Korihor. See, Joseph Smith is foolish. He was wrong to call him Nephi. It's Moroni. Joseph Smith was wrong not to start polygamy. Joseph Smith was wrong not to go to war against America. Joseph Smith was wrong. But they used Joseph Smith to justify doing what they wanted to do. Oh, he was doing it in secret, and I was the one who told him. But he went too far with the underage girls. So do you see how this works? Do you see the mental brainwashing, hypnosis, MK Ultra trap they're setting for you? It's the church, it's the psychos, it's the leaders in various fields of positions of trust and responsibility. By their fruits ye shall know them. Chad Daybell is the fruit of the prophets of the LDS Church. Do not be confused. And Chad Daybell is not supposed to get away with his crimes because the church leaders are responsible. Both of them are supposed to be held accountable. Yeah, that's it. There's other stuff, but that would involve another video, like the flesh, blood, bone thing.